The Rainbow Six franchise started way back in the PS1 era, and eventually spawned a ton of games. Recently though, things have slowed down. Rainbow Six Siege is the first game in the series to be released in 7 years. Like the other games, it's based on the Tom Clancy novel, about a secretive counterterrorism strike force, bankrolled by NATO member states. Specifically, the game is only about one thing, and that's storming a structure with a small team of commandos. Nothing less, nothing more. There's hardly any storyline, hardly any music, and it's largely void of the large-scale combat that is typical of first-person shooters. However, by narrowing itself down to a single premise, Siege perfects that premise. The result is intense and original. The main mode of the game is simply called Casual Multiplayer, and is what I'll spend most of this review talking about. It begins when you and 4 other online players select a team from a pool of specialists, each of which has a unique weapon or gadget, like a sledgehammer or shield. Each player can only pick from specialists they have unlocked, and the team cannot have 2 of the same ones, so you'll need to pick fast. An opposing team of 5 online players also creates a team. The teams will duke it out for the best of 5 rounds. In each round, your team is either the attackers or the defenders. If your team is attacking, the first thing they do is drive little drones into the building. You're trying to find out where the defenders are and find the exact location of whatever target they are guarding. Typical targets include hostages and bombs. This phase is very short.
Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
If your team locates the target, it'll appear on everyone's screen, which will help focus the upcoming assault. If nobody found a target, your team just has to do its best to locate the target within the time limit. While the attacking team operates the drones, the defending team prepares for the upcoming assault. They can reinforce walls and seal doorways with bulletproof metal. They can also set traps, lay barbed wire, and shoot the drones. After this preparation phase, the waiting begins. Things get very quiet, as your team wonders which direction the initial assault will come from. Bear in mind you could shoot your own teammates, and it's very tight quarters, so you'll have to be very careful with your shots. If you're on the attacking team, you make your way into the building by smashing through doors and windows. You want to be as stealthy as possible, but there's really no way to proceed without making a bunch of noise. The environment is destructible to a certain extent. It just depends on the material. When you're defending and waiting, there are subtle clues to watch for as the attackers get closer. You might see a shadow underneath the door, or debris falling from the ceiling. Eventually, all hell breaks loose. If a player gets injured, their teammate can revive them, but most of the time they get shot up enough that they die instantly. Whenever someone does die, they're dead for the rest of the round. While waiting for the next round, deceased team members can operate the cameras and help locate the enemies by tagging them. People who are still alive can also tag things in front of them. But the best weapon for locating the enemy is voice chat. I strongly recommend hooking up a microphone if you play this game. Your team will do better, and due to the small team size, you'll get a sense of camaraderie. The game does have a learning curve. It takes a while to get used to all the gadgets. There is no paper manual, and the instructions the developers have posted online don't quite tell you everything you need to know. There's a few tutorials, but they don't cover much either. Still, I eventually got the hang of it. Overall, this mode of the game is awesome. It seems like it would get boring, but there's just so many strategies to employ. Things that are frowned upon in other games, such as hiding, is perfectly legit here. The game also has a very well executed experience system, allowing you to unlock specialists and also attachments for your guns. If you want to increase your level faster, you can buy experience boosters. There's a lot of other things you can pay for, but the game doesn't get too carried away with it. Another multiplayer option is Terrorist Hunt, where your online team either attacks or defends against a structure full of bad guys. This mode is fun as well, and is a little more like a traditional first-person shooter. However, I found myself coming back to the casual multiplayer again and again. If you're looking for single-player action, you'll find some, but not a lot. The terrorist hunt I just mentioned can also be played with one player. But there's also situation mode, where you get to go on specific missions, each with an introduction narrated by Angela Bassett.
Attacks. The mobility and the high-profile nature of the attack against random victims.
At the time of this review, shortly after launch, the servers were functioning pretty well. I did get dropped from a few matches, and the matchmaking screen can sometimes take a while, which it shouldn't because it's only choosing 10 players. The game has a slight problem with trolls as well. There's a few people that come into the game and shoot their teammates, but it could be that these people were just confused. I myself did end up shooting quite a few of my own teammates. In my opinion, Rainbow Six Siege is a top-notch game. I like the detailed graphics, the intimate small teams, the simple concept, the cool abilities, and the balanced weapons. But what I like most of all are the silent moments that turn into loud moments. For people who play Call of Duty style games, Siege can be quite a departure and might seem even slow, but once you accept the nature of it, it can be quite a memorable experience. I strongly recommend you buy this game if you have a PS4, an Xbox One, or a PC.